we actually commission most of our barrels to our specification, coopered to our specification. They're ours. And then we do another very frugal, canny Scottish trick. We lease them straight back to you guys. Don't hate us. It actually works really well for the American whiskey producers that we lease them to, because they don't need to own those barrels. As a proportion of the barrels they can just rent off us. We need American whiskey to go into those barrels for about 4 to 6 years, just to pull some of the tannins out of the wood. Because if we didn't, we'd make something in Scotland that was much closer to bourbon, which there's nothing wrong with that. It'd be great, I love bourbon. But it'd be kind of stupid to try and make bourbon in Scotland when we make Scotch in Scotland. So after 4 to 6 years, those barrels are emptied, and then for Glenmorangie, we've always shipped them whole and empty. We don't flat pack them. That's for IKEA. Come in there! Only joking. So we ship them whole and empty, which we think is much better for the barrel. And then we'll fill them with our beautiful floral spirits, and you see where you get those lovely flavours from. When we use them at Glenmorangie, 2 uses for us. That's it. And there's no law in Scotland to say that you only have to use your barrel any number of times. You can flog them to death. And lots of distillers, historically in Scotland, I'm afraid, have flogged their cask to death 10 times. You know, that thing should have been cut in half and planted with marigolds a long time ago, basically. So that's where you get that delicacy and that complexity in Glenmorangie Original. And that's probably why what you just tasted, as I said, has been the #1 best-selling single malt in Scotland for 50 years in a row. Wow. Think about that. Even with a legal drinking age of 18, that means that the vast majority of Scots alive today who are of legal drinking age have only ever remembered this being the #1 single malt. It's kind of a crazy thought. A whole generation of Scots learning to drink this a little. Yes.
Discussion of the barrels.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s or before that, how did
the
distillery decide that was going to be the way to go?
Yeah. So before American oak became the thing, Scotch whisky would have been aged in whatever oak we could get our hands on, and that would have been the casks that port and sherry and Burgundy, Bordeaux were imported to the British Isles in and emptied, and those wines were bottled in the UK.